It's our reality, just your average family, trying to be normal and stay out of trouble, living a double life.
What's up? Today we got Thurman's Season 1, Episode 18, Paging Dr. Thunderman. Yeah, we only got 2 more episodes left, and then we'll be on to the second season, which is like crazy because I have been really enjoying the show. So it's kind of crazy that after this season, we will be starting the second season. Which has big number, which has 24 episodes, which is technically 25 episodes, because episode 24 is a two-parter, which is the finale of season 2 is a two-parter, so it's technically 24 and 25. So yeah, and yeah, season 2 is the first season of Thurman's, who have which has a two-part crossover and a two-part season finale. So it'll probably be a longer script for me to do when we do that season, when we do those 2 episodes. But aside from that, we got this episode, season 1, episode 18, Paging Dr. Thunderman. This episode starts off at the Thunder House living room, where we see Max greet Phoebe, calling her dweeby. Again, I love Max. Phoebe says she told Max not to call her that, and Max says, well, she tells him not to do a lot of things. Max says, where are his keys? And Phoebe says, they're by the door, under the rug. Then Nora opens the door, kicking Max. Phoebe says, oh, keys. I thought she meant let me get hit in the butt with a door. Nora tells Billy, let's go play laser tag, and Nora lasers Billy. Billy says that the pain makes it fun. Phoebe says, remember when they used to play like that? Max says, yeah, wait, that wasn't her. So who's Max remembering? It's never brought up again, but it would be funny to learn that Max used to play with someone the way that Nora does with Billy. Then Hank and Barb show up to say Nora's teacher recommended her for a spot in the Prinwood School for Girls. Nora says she's not a lesbian, she's straight. Actually, just jokes aside, Nora says she likes boys, not girls. Literally saying that she's a lesbian, that she's straight. But to not get, attacked by people because I'm a gay guy. People say I'm just making a joke because it said, because when Nora says she likes boys, not girls, it's kind of not hard not to make that joke in a Nickelodeon show. But yeah, also, what is Nora's teacher on? Why would you think Nora, a person who lasers her brother, acts deviously, and has very malicious plans, would be good for an all-girls school? Is she high? Because literally Nora is not an all-girls school type of person. Again, she's a devious person. She likes to get back at people when people wrong her, and she likes both. But also she likes to get back at people when people wrong her. I don't think you'd want that person at your all-girls school, but because this episode has a B plot, they must do this episode. This episode must do. They have to say, oh yeah, Nora's teacher recommended her for the school, even though I don't think Nora, being the type of person that we followed her to be in these 18 episodes, would do that. Because it's Nora. And she is just on, yeah. Nora says she likes girls, not boys. She likes boys because they heal quicker. Okay, I guess Nora just revealed either Nora's talking about Billy, or she secretly lasers other people and they heal quicker. Probably talking about Billy. And since Billy heals quicker. Hank says Primwich is the fanciest. Don't know what it says. Is the fanciest school around, and they want to interview Nora today. Phoebe says that's pretty cool, and Barb says so she needs Max and Phoebe to babysit Billy while they take her. And Max says, pretty not cool. Then Hank threatens to take away their phones if they don't. And then Phoebe says, so it's cool again. Barb says this is a great opportunity for Nora. The ambassador of France went there. Hank says that maybe Nora will learn. We don't know what he says. He just speaks a bunch of gibberish, which is no one can understand. So what will Nora learn there? We don't know. I guess he speaks in French. But he just says ba 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 da da da. Like no one can understand that. Nora says she likes her school at Hiddenville Elementary, but Barb says Primridge has everything: a lacrosse field, a science lab. Then she says, "Help her out, Hank." And then Hank says they got an ice cream bar in the cafeteria. Then Nora shows a spoon she randomly got out of her pocket and says, "Let's get this show on the road." Barb also questions why Nora has a spoon in her pocket, and Nora says, like Hank says, always be ready for dessert. Hank says, that's his girl, pulling out his own spoon out of his own pocket. Then Billy asks Nora if she's really going to go to school far away from him. And Nora says, no way. That school is for rich kids. That school is for fancy kids. She's not fancy, but she is hungry. And then they leave. Hank tells Phoebe she's in charge. Max says, come on, why is Phoebe always in charge? So Hank says, Max, you're in charge. But he says, Phoebe, you're secretly in charge. And Phoebe says, duh. Okay, after the opening, we start the episode off in the A plot, where we see Phoebe, Max, Billy. We see Phoebe is asking Billy why if he wants cereal. Then a frisbee hits the cereal box. Billy's playing dangerous because Max is in charge. Phoebe says, no, he isn't. Hank says that Hank just said that so he behaved. Max says, it didn't work. Billy, keep playing. Phoebe, go to your room. Okay, again, I love Matt. He has the funniest scenes. Aside from when Mrs. Wong shows up. Then I love Mrs. Wong. But otherwise, Max has the funny scenes. Yeah. Billy says, yeah. Yay! Throwing the danger disc, causing it to ricochet and injure Billy's thumb. As I always say, you can't, oh, as I always say, always be ready when the TV goes off from your show and you have to use your remote to press the button to get the screen cap back on. Actually, I don't always say that, but just, I always do it, so. Yeah, Billy injures his thumb, and Phoebe says, this is why you don't play danger discs in the house. Meanwhile, on the B plot, at Primridge, Nora gets her ice cream and says, now they can leave. Barb says, the school isn't just about ice cream, it has great. See, as I said, I always have to do. Always have this with you. When you're trying to deal with TVs and it's always turning off with a screen cap. While you're screen capping. Again, I wish it had a button that I could just press and it could screen cap the scenes for me, but I don't, so I just use this. Anyway. Yeah. Bill, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Barb said that that Primridge is more about ice cream. it has great teachers and great facilities. Then Hank says, Hank got his ice cream. They can go home now. They can leave. Then Barb says, Hank. And Hank says, oh, right. Interview with the dean. Then Hank tells Nora to stay focused. Then some snooty privileged girls talk to Nora, talking about how Nora dripped ice cream on her dress. Nora rubs the ice cream off her dress, and blonde snooty privileged girl tells, because we don't get her name, because the show is terrible with giving one-off character's name. I would love to... Tells Nora good luck to getting the privilege. Privileged girls don't wear their food. But Nora claps back with blonde snooty privileged girl's butt is gonna be wearing Nora's foot if she doesn't mind her own beeswax. Blonde snooty privileged girl says her butt wouldn't be cut dead in those unfortunate shoes, and they laugh. Nora says those girls think she can't get into their snooty school. Nora throws away her ice cream and says, oh, she'll show those spoiled, bratty little pants. Then the dean shows up. Nora does a curtsy, saying it's enchanted to make her acquaintance. Meanwhile, in the A-plot, at the Thunder House, in Max's lair, Max is talking to Dr. Colosso. Phoebe asks if he's a real doctor. Talking to Dr. Colosso, Phoebe asks if he's a real doctor. Dr. Colosso says he's operating on 100 people. Phoebe says it doesn't make him a real doctor, and Dr. Colosso tells Phoebe to be quiet, or he'll make her 101. She doesn't say that, but the way he says, if she doesn't be quiet, he'll add that to 101 patients. He's obviously talking to Phoebe. Max says, is Billy's thumb that bad? Dr. Colosso says it's bad. Colosso wants to cut off Billy's thumb. Max and Phoebe push Billy back. Push Billy back. Hey, Dr. Colosso says, so a rabbit's foot is alright, but the kid's thumb is crossing the line. Phoebe says, they better not take advice from let's not seek medical advice from a homicidal rabbit. Hank says, let's just take Billy to a hospital. Phoebe says, is Max crazy? People will find out about them if Billy gets examined by doctors. Max says, Billy doesn't have the superpower lobe like they do, but Phoebe says, do you know how really fast Billy's heart beats? Then he hears it, and Billy says, it goes really faster when he's speeding to Peru. I think that's what he said. Phoebe says they should just call Hank and Barb, but Max says that'll get him in trouble. Phoebe and Max are fighting over this, and they fight over Phoebe's phone. But Phoebe gets her phone and is about to call Hank and Barb when she realizes that Billy and Max went to the hospital. Meanwhile, in the B-plot at Primrose, the dean asks Nora about herself. Nora says she loves poetry and fine conversation and attending the ballet with her great Hank and Barb. Isn't that right? And Hank says, and she says, yeah. And isn't that right, dearest ones? And Hank says, I think she's talking to them. Barb says, oh, that's right, Nora. Nora says she loves to dance. Like she was saying to her dear friend Princess Kate the other day, she calls her Bubbles. They must start a dance company. Oh, did she go on? Pardon moi. The dean says Nora speaks French, which wouldn't be the only time Nora does so. She would literally speak French in season 3, episode 15. He Got Game. Or We Got Game. I think it's called He Got Game. Wait, no, it's called He Got Game Night. Now I remember. Then Nora would become smarter and literally talk French throughout the episode. We'll get to that one in season 3. But I'm just saying is that this is not the only time where Nora speaks French. where Nora's Frenchness becomes a main plot line. Nora says, oui, the French culture is so elegant, such savoir-faire. See, I'm not a French guy, but I'm trying my best here with what Nora says. What can they do with ice cream sauce? Moi. Hank says, she's on fire. The dean says, Hank and Barb, she must say she was told Nora was gifted, but she wasn't expecting such a culture genuinely. Barb says, that's their Nora, so full of surprises. Meanwhile, in the A plot, which is where I get my screen cap from, in the doctor's office, Hank told Billy that his hospital gum is a bandage. Phoebe says, this is a bad idea. They're going to get exposed. Max says, Phoebe's forgetting. Max is an evil mastermind. Max presents Phoebe. Max presents Phoebe says, what? Says what? Your briefcase with Dr. Foon stuff. Then Max says, his briefcase with Dr. Foon stuff. Max shows out his robotic arm with his normal paw, his fake ear so the doctor won't detect Billy's temperature. Max realizes, where's his little ear? Then we cut to Dr. Colosso talking to the other ear, talking about how it's a great listener than Max, and talks about his mom. Talks about Dr. Colosso's mother. Okay, I guess Dr. Colosso doesn't realize that he's actually talking to a fake ear, not to an actual person's ear, but okay, that's funny, I guess. Dr. Colosso talking to a fake ear and saying that a fake ear is a better listener than Max. We still don't know what happened, how he got back from Aunt Maggie's farm from episode 14, and we'll never know how he got back. I guess either Hank found out about Dr. Colosso's, we don't know. Maybe he just trekked there, escaping dumb Phoebe clone, or someone found out about him and forced him back. We don't know. We'll never know. It's never brought up again how he came back. It's weird. Billy asks Max, how is a teddy bear going to fool the doctor? Phoebe says that's Max's teddy bear. He clutches it when he gets a needle. Billy questions Max on him being afraid of shots, being afraid of needles. And Max says no and tells Phoebe to give him back Grizzly Gus. At least it's better than Phoebe's bear, Mr. Grumbles. At least Grizzly Gus is a normal name than Phoebe's teddy bear, Mr. Grumbles. Then the doctor shows up and he asks Billy before he needs to check Billy's vital sign. Billy says asks if he can see Billy's arm. Then the doctor sees that he has quite an arm. Billy says he's got. Billy says, thanks, it's new. Phoebe says, oh, Billy, he says things. Doctor says the pulse seems normal. Let's get his temperature. Billy says, use the left ear. Phoebe says, Billy has a huge... What is it? That Billy has a huge ear. Doctor checks Billy's thumb and says it's just a sprain, so just ice it and it'll be fine. Doctor leaves. Max says it worked. See, Phoebe, everything turned out great. Then a nurse shows up. Thanks to Max's great, calm, cool leadership. Then a nurse comes in, saying she needs the room for the next patient, holding up the world's giant needle, which is impossible that you could have a needle that huge but she does, somehow. Did she use Max's Grow-O-Matic somehow? Because literally, I don't think giant needles like that exist. Because I don't think they don't. Did she secretly create a Grow-O-Matic 2.0 and grow it? Because I don't think those things exist. Max freaks out, saying, needle, big... needle, big... and passes out. Then the doctor from before randomly just comes in asking about this, and she says the boy that Max fainted, and they take him away. Billy says, "Please don't give him a brain scan." And then the doctor says, "Good idea. Let's give him a brain scan." And then Phoebe's like, looks at him being like, "Dude." And then Billy says, "What are you looking at me for? I said not to." Okay, that's kind of funny. Then the nurse lets Billy and Phoebe see Max, and Max asks Billy if he's okay. And says that was hilarious, and just redoes what Max did earlier and imitates what Max did. Phoebe says, "Did the doctors find out Max has superpowers?" And Max says he doesn't think so. They said they took a brain scan, and if they see the brain scan, they'll see the super lobe, and they'll be busted for sure. Phoebe says, unless they get the brain scan first. So they need to figure out how to get it. Billy says, they'll go to medical school, then 12 years later, meet back up at the same hospital, which, does it really take you 10 years to finish med school? I will probably never do it, but I'm just saying, does it really take you 10 years to finish med school? Can someone tell me in the comments if it takes you 12 years to finish med school? Or is this show just, again, creating another impossible, this show creating another random thing that doesn't actually happen? Comment below. So then Phoebe says, no, they're not doing that. She has a better idea. She says, or then we cut to Max and Phoebe being doctors. Max is Dr. Kelrin, and Phoebe is Dr. Chang. And Billy says he's Dr. Bandage Boy. And then Max rips off one of the bandages. Then meanwhile the B plot at Penridge, Hank and Barb are congratulating Nora on how she put on a great show. Hank says he didn't know Nora knew German poetry. Nora says once she gets in, she's gonna show those snooty privileged girls what real fun is. She doesn't laugh, but it's implied that she's evil laughing inside. Barb says Nora, not to get her hopes up, she might not get accepted, but what really matters is she tried. Then the dean shows up saying Nora got accepted into Primridge. Then Barb gets excited over this, but meanwhile in the A plot again at the hospital, Phoebe says they gotta find that brain scan. Then Phoebe gets a text from Barb about how Nora got into Primridge. Billy, feeling that Nora lied to him about not wanting to get in, runs off, and Max goes to find Billy, and runs off. And Max runs off to find Billy. And Billy runs off. Phoebe goes to find Max's brain scan, and Max runs off to find Billy. Phoebe says how she can find Max's brain scan in a big hospital. Then the nurse happens to say she has Max's brain scan, so then Phoebe says, so Max says, now time to get the brain scan. Then a security guard shows up and says, now time to hide in a doctor's room. Then the doctor tells Phoebe, Dr. Chang, that he'll be evaluating her/him alongside his other interns. Meanwhile, Max is searching for Billy. Max finds Billy in a janitor's closet, and Billy says he wants them to be revealed, or he wants them to be exposed to the world, so Nora doesn't have to go to Primrose. Max says, "What's the big deal if Nora goes to a different school? You know how many times Max tried to get Phoebe transferred to another school?" Billy says, "Yeah, but Nora's his best friend." And Billy says Max doesn't like Phoebe. Max says, "Why? That's what Billy thinks." And Billy says they fight all the time. Max says he doesn't. That doesn't mean he doesn't like that. Max says they fight. They don't fight. They bicker. It's like arguing, but cuter. And that doesn't mean that he doesn't care about Phoebe. Max and Phoebe will always be there for each other, just like Billy and Nora. And Max promises that sisters are for life. Billy says, "Thanks, Max." So now Billy and Max go to get Billy's brain scan. Max tells Billy to get the bucket off of his butt. Meanwhile, in the B plot, Nora has her Primrose outfit on, and Hank says, with the prices, the outfit should be made of gold. Then Dean tells Nora the show will start Monday. In the meantime, they need Nora to choose an after-school activity and after-school sport, and they get a jump on the 3 hours of nightly homework. Nora says, "What? When is she gonna get to play with Billy?" And the dean says she doesn't know what or who a Billy is. But Nora will make new friends, like Celestina, Gloriana, and Sophia. And then Dean leaves. Barb says, "Look, Nora, you're gonna be friends with Sophia." Nora reveals that she didn't really want to go to Primrose. She doesn't want to go to Primrose because if she does go, there'll be no time to play with Billy, and he's her best friend. Barb says, "Then why did she try to go hard to get accepted?" Nora says that she doesn't know. The girl in the hall said that Nora would never get accepted, so she wanted to prove her wrong. It was either prove her wrong or laser her face off, because that's Nora for you. Hank says Nora made the right choice in not lasering the girl's face off and trying to prove her wrong. Barb says it's their fault too. If she and Hank hadn't got so caught up in what they wanted, Nora wouldn't be at Primrose in the first place. Hank says he just came here for the ice cream because they keep trying to prove us that Hank loves food. Barb says, "Yeah." Nora says, "Can she stay?" And Barb says, Nora can't stay at Hiddenville Elementary. Hank then just realized that he gave the check to the dean, and what's he gonna do? And says that he only was there for the ice cream. And Nora says, "Wait a minute, Hank. Ice cream can be the thing that can fix it." Meanwhile, in the A plot, a doctor tells Phoebe, Dr. Chang, that they needed Dr. Chang to remove a guy's warts. Phoebe says, "Sweet cheese, is that huge?" And the doctor says, "It's all hers. Go crazy." Back to the B plot. At Primrose, Barb says the dean is coming, and Nora, Hank, and Barb start eating ice cream as the dean walks in, horrified by their behavior. The dean watches as they make a sundae in Hank's mouth, so the dean says Nora is not Primrose material and kicks them out and gives them Hank back and gives Hank back his check. And they leave. Meanwhile, in the A plot, Phoebe is distracting the doctor and is stalling for time and is about to confess that she's not a real doctor when Max shows up. Phoebe distracts the doctor. Max says, "Distract the doctor." So Phoebe distracts the doctors again while Max freezes the ward off the patient. They say, "That's Dr. Chang. he's Dr. Calram, and they're out of here, and they leave. So, yeah. And they discover the doctor has already had Max's brain scan, so Billy speeds out so the papers could go flying. The doctors try to get it, and Billy gets Max's brain scan. Billy says Max helped him. Phoebe says Billy's instead about Nora, and Billy says, nah, Max has said sisters are for life before saying see them at home, speeding out to the house with the brain scan, speeding out to home with Max's brain scan. Phoebe says Max said sisters are for life, but Max says, oh, that Billy, he's just woozy from the thumb pain and doesn't know what he's talking about. Meanwhile, at the Thunder House living room, Phoebe and Max get in as Billy asks what took them so long because he's heard Hank and Barb pull up. Phoebe says, act natural. If they say anything, they'll just say that it was a quiet afternoon at home. And Barb and Hank and Nora come in. Billy says, they had a quiet afternoon at home. It was natural. And act natural. Barb says, okay. And Billy tells Nora he's happy she got into Primridge and he'll be fine without her. Nora says she isn't going, and Billy says thank goodness, he'd be a mess without her. They leave. Barb says thanks for babysitting, and Hank says, and he says mole. She means no mole problem. I mean no problem. And Hank says that was close. Billy says don't forget they have to ice Billy's thumb. Hank questions them on why Billy's thumb is giant. Max says they have to get out of here. But Max turns around to see Phoebe has abandoned him. And Max says, so that's what it feels like. To end the episode.